All right, fellas, welcome back to another quick video. This one hopefully should be way less than the last one. As you can tell, I'm just recording this probably back to back. But today, this topic right now, and this video will probably go up same day. I mean, at this point, there's so much news coming out. But one of the biggest things that we found out yesterday was, hey, Kickstarter boxes are the base set. There are no plans for reprints after the Kickstarter. In other words, they won't go from Kickstarter to first edition per se, right? They're treating this as a full-blown base set, only available through Kickstarter. After this, they will go on to the next set instead of focusing on, reprints for the first set, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and play a clip for you guys from last night's live interview from EpicTubeHD. So let's take a look at that real quick, and then we'll get back into it.
Wait, what did he say? Will Kickstarter be its own set and viable towards gameplay, and will base set be separate from it, or will they eventually be the same? Are there any indicating differences between Kickstarter and what base will be?
Kickstarter is base set. Okay. We're gonna, like we said, we're scaling to about 5,000 max boxes, and then the other SKUs, other products. But we're staying at a pretty low print run. But this is our base set. This Kickstarter. We won't be planning to reprint this base set. Maybe in the future, if it's very popular, extremely popular, and requested, maybe we'll do something or talk about it. But right now, there's no plan to reprint these. So this is the base set. And then we will just be moving forward with more sets after this.
All right. So now that you guys saw that, right, as Johnny mentioned, they're currently set up to scale up to about roughly 5,000 Kickstarter booster boxes max. Obviously, that is subject to change with add-ons and things like that. But overall, the print run for this the NomNomverse base set Kickstarter is looking pretty low, which is pretty good, right? It's not as low as some other, TCGs that have come out prior to NomNom. However, it's still pretty low considering the fact that even after this Kickstarter, there aren't plans to come back and reprint it as a first edition and essentially, release that out into the market. Essentially, making Kickstarter the rare version per se, but just making it more, I guess, desirable, considering that it is the very first set of NomNom, and it will not be available after the Kickstarter, at least for now. He did mention, as you heard, that unless there is extreme demand for it, that only then would they consider even reprinting this Kickstarter base set. But I mean, if there is a lot of demand for it, who knows if they'll even print that many of first edition. And Kickstarter, Kickstarter 5,000-6,000 boxes is pretty healthy in my opinion for a Kickstarter game. And I know people are gonna love it because obviously there's less supply, and as this game grows organically, there's gonna be more and more demand for the first set, which is base set, right? So I don't know, guys. What do you guys think regarding that? I think it's very, very interesting. I don't know, just usually the way this has worked with other TCGs that are on the Kickstarter, right? They release a Kickstarter product. Then what they do is, once it's fulfilled, they start working on first edition pre-orders. And typically on first edition pre-orders, that's where they start getting all the kinks ironed out. They start getting better quality. They start getting, for example, box toppers and different cards. Like, for example, a recent game you guys may have heard of, Elestrals, right, by A-Drive. Elestrals, they created the Kickstarter box, right? And now with their first edition, which is coming out in March, I believe is when they start shipping those out, they have completely changed some of the full holos that you can get in the box. The cardstock quality, the box topper itself is different. It's not going to be the same Pent Terror from the Kickstarter box. The even the theme decks where you could get what's called a stellar Elestral, basically like a shiny version of the Elestral card. Um, Even that's changed, right? So even the theme deck Elestral, like Stellars that you could pull, are actually completely different Stellars this time, making it to where people want to open up the first edition and not just try to get the Kickstarter. Now, what that has caused, in my opinion, is yes, the Kickstarter product, there's not much of it for Elestrals either, I don't believe. Granted, their Kickstarter was like 2 million funded. I'm sure they got a lot more Elestrals out in the wild, and this was in like peak 2022 type of thing. But what I've noticed is when it comes to the Elestrals Kickstarter product, they're selling for the same amount as they were during the Kickstarter, if not even cheaper. And then first edition is the same price as Kickstarter product. So it's very weird, but at the same time, the first edition that they offer, makes, I pre-ordered some first edition product to be able to open up for the channel just because I like the fact that they updated their card stock and they did a lot of changes for it. So it's very interesting how NomNom is not going to do that, at least for now, because it is not planned to change. They're sticking to just doing the Kickstarter base set and then moving on to the next products afterwards. There's no plans to reprint the Kickstarter into a first edition or even into an unlimited edition. So for all intents and purposes, Kickstarter is first edition and will be the only edition out for this base set. So if you guys are on the fence for it, obviously, get on the Kickstarter. But two, it's just from a collectible standpoint, it's very interesting how they're navigating it, because the biggest gripe that people have is, one, a TCG can have more players and less collectors, which overall is bad, right? Because you want to have both. You want to have both collectors and players to make the game successful. If you have one or more of the other, it's not a good balance, right? And so the fact that they're doing this, to me, signifies that it's kind of like a good middle ground. They're highly, highly focused on the gameplay aspect. If you guys have not gone into the Discord, I'll be putting up the Kickstarter and the Discord links in the description, or in the pinned comment, so you guys can join the Discord if you're new to NomNomverse. But they're very much about LGSs and community and getting the game to people, versus more so than the collectible aspect. But they're not leaving the collectible aspect out of it. And so sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties, but essentially, like I was saying, they've figured out a way, in my opinion, to cater to both audiences. One, you have the players, which is their big focus. Like that is their big focus. They are focusing 100% on LGSs, the game itself, gameplay, all of that, right? That's where they're like putting all of their efforts in, because they know that is the lifeblood or lifeline of any game, is at an LGS with friends, with people around, and they can't be successful without making the game successful at a local game store scene, correct? So they're very focused on that, but at the same time, they're coming up with ways to make sure that collectors are happy too, right? Like we look at the prototype packs. Not only was it good for fans to look at the cards, maybe try to play the game, but also for early collectors of the product that want to collect all the cool early history of the game, and that's available for people like me, for other people that enjoy collecting things like that. This announcement per se of them not reprinting Kickstarter, that is also in my opinion, a good way to go about the collectible aspect of the product, because one, obviously when there's less product, collectors like that stuff. Collectors will go and purchase that knowing like, hey, this is a low printed product. It's the very first set of NomNomverse. The game has, if everything goes well and the game is successful, over time that value in that product will grow, and a lot of people enjoy that, right? So, And on top of that, like in my opinion, them, you know, deciding not to do a first edition, that's kind of new to me considering how all the other, you know, indie TCGs started up, especially the Kickstarter ones. But also, you know, they are adding serialized rares. They're adding 3 serialized rares to the product itself. They're adding, you know, I guess technically the holos, you are guaranteed a holo every other pack, or, you know, whatever the odds are. But there are things already in place for collectors. And so and you know, a lot of games do this, you know, they do have stuff for collectors. But I guess, you know, in my opinion, they've been able to, at least for the first set, right, the Kickstarter, they've managed to make it into like this nice little package that's great for people who want to get into the game and also people who want to collect the game, right? Because again, they got the fact that the Kickstarter print run is at least as of right now, it is the only print run there will be for base set. There is no first edition. There is no unlimited in the plans unless there's just so much demand to the point where they're kind of forced to make it so that people can actually play the game. But the fact that it's such a low print run in the grand scheme of things for a base set that's not getting reprinted, that itself is crazy for collectible value, right? Because people like collectibles because they're cool, and the fact that some of them are worth some money, that's even cooler, right? So it's one of those cool hobbies that you don't have to like worry about value often too much. So it's very, very cool that they've figured out how to make it desirable yet also like for the players of the game. And I'm very, very interested in this game and how it plays. I'm hoping that, man, once I get them starter decks, boy, I'm gonna be doing some test runs with the wife and the family in general. So it's gonna be fun. But it's very interesting that the way they've kind of gone about it. Because again, it's not what I've seen in the past for Kickstarters. It's never been a just one and done print run and that's it. It's always been, hey, here's the Kickstarter version. And then after it's funded, hey, in like 6 months to a year, here's first edition. And then finally, after that's been done, then they go into their second set. So right from the get-go, it looks like, you know, Senpai Studios is just going balls to the wall, second set. Once Kickstarter's done, boom, maybe some small ancillary products here and there. And then straight to the second set. From my understanding, they're aiming to do one set per year, like one big set per year, as it is like a tabletop RPG game. It's a TCG RPG, TCRPG game. So maybe that's why it's a little bit different than like a standard TCG per se, because there's boss battles and you know all that cool stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they navigate this Kickstarter success. You know, according to Tessa and the team members, the bare minimum boxes that will be printed would be 1,500, but they've scaled, again, maximum around 5,000 or so. Again, really low print run depending on where the Kickstarter ends. I will have to, you know what? I should probably do that. I can probably calculate right now before add-ons how much, I guess, booster boxes are going to be made as of today, February 7th, a day after the Kickstarter went live. If you guys give me a couple minutes, I'll be right back. Going to get you that info. Okay. So, let me put this over here. So, as of this moment, at 12 p.m. on the dot, Central Time on February 7th, there have been 1,925 booster boxes that have been pledged through the Kickstarter tier list. Keep in mind, this will likely go higher as soon as the add-ons go live for the project, which should actually be, according to Johnny, pretty soon around this time. So, a little under 2,000 boxes right now, with plenty of time left in the Kickstarter itself. In terms of whether there's going to be a limit, again, from what we've heard, it's that they're trying to limit it to about 5,000 booster boxes. What that means is that's probably that 500,000 goal for the short. So, like, if you guys saw my recent video, there is a $500,000 stretch goal that if it's reached, we would get like a short for NomNomverse. And so my assumption is that that would be for the 5,000 boxes. If we reach that goal, that's roughly about, or close to probably like 5,500 to 6,000 boxes. Which again, they're trying to be at 5,000, but they said that depending on how popular this is, it could go up a little bit more than that. So as of right now, less than 2,000 boxes have been pledged, and there's still 29 days left. And I'm telling you guys, I hope that for those of you that are pledging or have not pledged, hope you guys are looking forward to all the stretch goals. Myself, I'm just waiting for this to reach 300,000 so that I can add Ralph, the Ralph figure onto my order. So yeah, anyways, so that's basically, I just figured let's have a little small conversation regarding some of the stuff that they mentioned during EpicTubeHD's interview yesterday, specifically how important, because sometimes some of this information gets lost to people who are new to the game, but that's pretty big regarding no reprints for base set, aka the Kickstarter first edition. So yeah, that's crazy. I haven't seen a Kickstarter do that just yet, and I'm sure there might be one that I'm not familiar with, but most that I've seen have been Kickstarter followed by first edition and then followed by their second set. NomNom is going straight from Kickstarter to second set. So I'm here for it. I'm about it. I like that. So anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in. There's so much, man. There's so much info. Again, this has been such a hype release for me. Really, really exciting release for me, I should say. But there's just so much to talk about. Like, we still haven't even talked about the artists coming, and that might even be its own video. And what some potential, like what some of my theories are, specifically with one creator, with one artist. What my theories are for him, given his history and given the fact the theme of NomNom, like dinos, kaijus, etc. So that'll be for another video. We can kind of brainstorm together. So anyways, appreciate you guys again tuning in. This is probably a double upload. I apologize for bombing your feed with more info. So thank you guys again, and hopefully you enjoy these little update videos regarding NomNom. NomNomverse's very successful Kickstarter, and I look forward to more. So again, stay tuned for the artist video, because that's a lot. That in its own is just wow. And we can kind of go over what some of the things Tessa has said in the Discord regarding what to kind of expect going forward for NomNomverse regarding artists. So anyways, I'll stop blabbering. See y'all next time. Appreciate it.